Okay guys, welcome back to my channel, and we are going to go into a section called Signature Moments, which of course you saw is at the bottom left there if you ever get the game or you play the game yourself. And we are going to use signature teams and signature players, and we are just going to have fun. And I am actually going to use the Astros and the A's, and I'm just kind of like guiding you guys around. There's different ways you can play signature moments. You can get all of these signature cards a step at a time. So that's the whole point, is to get signature cards into your collection. And then once you get a signature card into your collection, you can use that signature player in your Diamond Dynasty. And they all connect. It's actually quite beautiful. But the point is, I haven't been able to play Diamond Dynasty this year yet because I haven't got enough signature players in my team. I've messed around with it. But you can actually compete online with Diamond Dynasty, or you can compete with your Diamond Dynasty team in signature moments, which is really cool. But I'm going to use the signature moment here. I'm going to use the A's versus the Astros. And so let it go ahead and load up. But basically, this team is going to have a lot of surprises for the players that are in it. I'm actually going to let you guys wait and see. Instead of me just ranting about who it is, let's just go with the surprise factor. And you guys have to actually watch the video to see who's going to show up. But there's one huge surprise that I was even shocked was in this game. And we'll see. And we'll see who it is in a moment. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, there's Roy Oswalt right there. And we are in Minute Maid Park with the Astros playing the Oakland Athletics. Okay, here's our surprise right there. Not the big surprise I promised you. But there's Ricky Henderson. I did do a little bit of editing to whittle this down just a bit for you guys to save you about 8 minutes of gameplay here. I could have just gone with highlights, but for some reason I wanted to kind of walk you guys through this. Okay, you can see I'm staying on the inside of the plate. I really want to keep off the good part of his lumber on these pitches, so I am pitching him on the inside. Also, during this game, I do a lot of zoning and targeting. So you're going to see, of course, I'm using zone hitting mostly nowadays, trying to get used to it. But I'm also targeting one side of the plate and waiting for that pitch. Reggie Jackson, here's our next guy. Man, this guy was a beast. My anecdotal story about him is due to my age. I was actually, to tell you the truth, I actually missed the highlights of his career. He was part of 5 of the best seasons, or probably 7 of the best seasons in baseball. If you don't, if you know the 72, 73, and 74 Oakland A's with Raleigh Fingers and Catfish Hunter. Went on to win 3 World Series in a row. And then in 75 and 76, the Big Red Machine with Pete Rose and all those amazing guys like Joe Morgan. Oh, here's my big error of the game. My big, massive error of the game. It literally turns a single into a triple. I'm humiliated. I kept it in. I'm willing to be humiliated online here. Anyway, back to the Big Red Machine. The Big Red Machine was absolutely amazing. If you guys are into historical baseball, that team pretty much had everything. They had what's called the Great 8, and so they had pretty much 8 of the best fielders around, and it's just something to be looked at. And then what's more amazing is their 2 championships. They had 4 pennants in 7 years. And 2 world championships, and so they basically were part of like the same trajectory that the Astros will be remembered for. I did try to get that off the wall and missed right there. Okay, Jason Giambi, but they 4 pennants in 7 years, from 70 to 76, 2 World Series, and those 2 World Series came off the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. So there was a lot of interesting time, probably between like, let's say, 69 to 78. The really bad thing is I was just way too young to enjoy those years. And if you look at like 69, 70, or 71, that was like the Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Jim Palmer years with the Baltimore Orioles. And after the Baltimore Orioles, we are in the New York Mets and the Baltimore Orioles. We went straight to the years with the Oakland A's, 3 years in a row. Then we went 2 years in a row with the Big Red Machine in 75 and 76, and then we went Dodgers Yankees in 77 and 78, which brings us to the Big Red, not the Big Red Machine, but basically the Reggie Jackson Mr. October years, and Reggie Jackson's on this team, which brings us in a quick way full circle to what I'm talking about here, which is that Reggie Jackson between 72 to 78 he was World Series champion 5 out of 7 years, and he was branded in 77 Mr. October, had 5 home runs in that World Series, which tied George Springer, or which George Springer tied, either way. And anyway, so it's just unfortunate that I missed all of that. I was just too young to understand baseball. And Jose Altuve, and we're going to look at his signature card here in zoom mode in just a second. Okay, there it is right here. Slow motion, zoomed up on it, and they put that really nice little glossy effect on there. I just love it. Anyway, then 79, if you don't know, I could take you through the whole era if you want, but basically in 79, it was the Pittsburgh Pirates versus the Baltimore Orioles, and the Pittsburgh Pirates with Willie Stargell ended up winning that, and I think that did go to 7 games. I think Willie Stargell had a walk-off. It's just so long ago now. And there's a big swing by Bregman. Ties it up right there, I believe, 1-1, because I'm storytelling right now. Jeff Bagwell. They really got his stance down with that wide leg stance right there. Keep him a little bit lower, but I have to look at it again, but I wonder how he stepped forward too much with that wide leg stance. You know, when the wider your legs, I would assume the less movement you have going back and forth, getting a little bit of leverage on the hits. Anyway, 1980. Let's see who is in 1980 for fun. Ooh, George Springer got the signature card. Let's look at that. Sorry to go back and forth here, but I really wanted to have fun with this video and show you guys some of the signature cards here on these signature teams and signature moments. All right. George Springer. Maybe future Hall of Famer, World Series MVP. Maybe our Hall of Famers on the team are Springer and Altuve. Okay, anyway, 1980, you will have, oh golly, I wish I could remember this. I believe you have the Kansas City Royals versus the Philadelphia Phillies. We were in, back between, it's kind of historical stuff, but between 1969 to 1995, or 1994, you only had 4 teams in the playoffs, and they had just championship series, no division series back then. It was, you think it's hard to get in the playoffs now? It was really hard back then. And we lost, we won in a wild card, or kind of a tiebreaker with the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. And then we moved on to play the Phillies, which was considered the best championship series of all time and one of the best playoff games of all time according to MLB TV. I think it's like the first or second best game ever, with the Pete Rose walk. I think it was against Nolan Ryan, and it was a pretty intense game. We ended up losing, and ergo the Phillies went on to win the World Series against the Kansas City Royals. The next year, we did play the Dodgers in the NLCS, the National League Championship Series, and lost to the Dodgers 3-2. And the Dodgers went on to win that game, or win that World Series. So the Dodgers win in 1981. Anyway, that's your historical stuff for fun. We're just ranting because we have a little bit of time here up until our next signature player comes. So I wanted to rant between 1969 through 1981. 69, I guess, would have been the Miracle Mets, and 1970 would have been the Reds versus the Orioles, and I think the Orioles ended up winning. ended up winning that one. I believe the next year was 71, which was, I believe it was the A's versus the Pirates. Sorry, I'm watching Steve Finley right there. The A's versus the Pirates. I believe the Pirates won. Correct me if I'm wrong. 72, 73, 74 is A's, A's, A's. 75, 76 is Reds, Reds. 77, 78 is Yankees, Yankees. 79 is Pirates again. And 1980 is Phillies, and 1981 is Dodgers. So that is the arc of those 12 or 13 years. And if you guys want to know what was my first World Series that I recall watching, my first World Series that I recall watching was 1979, and that was Orioles Pirates. I was rooting for the Orioles with Kent DeCulvey, Willie Stargell. Who was the other big batter over there? Was it not Dave Winfield? Yeah, maybe it was Dave Winfield, and there was another one too. But anyway, yeah, I was rooting for the Orioles the whole way, and we lost. And my first World Series started with a loss, and that was, I think, what brought me to start watching baseball. Was it was really the golden era in Houston for sports, with the Love You Blue era in football too. But I think what got me interested in baseball was my father, and it's kind of funny, but the movie The Bad News Bears, because if you remember, I believe, is it part one or part two? I can't remember. But they end up in the Astrodome, where the pitcher is just standing out in the middle of the field, refusing to come off, and then all the Astros players like, okay, just let him play out, because they wanted to end the game in a tie. And I think his name was Tanner, the pitcher on the Bad News Bears. Anyway, yeah. But it was really my father, which the story about my father is saved for another day completely. But I'm just ranting here. Oh, here's Steve Finley. Let's see what he does. And you can see here, let's go back to the game. You can see here I'm actually zone targeting. And he threw it to the area that I'm targeting. You can see my target actually drops down right here. And we're doing all this in slow motion one more time so you guys can see it. And I'm basically predicting the pitch, and all I have to do is time it up, and it'll get good wood on it. So let's look at this. A little bit too slow on the replay, but it's okay. And he goes right where I put it, and it, of course, will end up in a hit. A lot of times you're going to end up with a hit. Sometimes it'll just be hit, unfortunately, right to a player. But anyway, it's a really, really cool zone targeting. Basically lets you, it's something I'm working on. I'm trying to evolve my game in different ways on the game. So I'm going into different modes, and I'm playing with viewpoints. I'm playing with targeting right there. And this is a huge mistake right here. I'm embarrassed about this big time. Anyway, it is what it is. But I'm basically doing just like the wild card game, if you remember, with Tampa Bay and the A's this year with Yandy Diaz, where I'm just taking half of the plate and I'm waiting for my pitch. And that was I thought that was a little bit higher. You can see I'm zone targeting the upper half of the plate, and I'm literally trying to watch his hand, and I shouldn't have swung at that. It's a little bit of a discipline thing, but when you kind of, how do you say, squeeze down or shrink the strike zone into just a portion of it, you can just sit on a pitch. And there's me actually looking at the dialogue box to see where he's been pitching so far. And I shouldn't have swung at that either. I think this happens to me 5 or 6 times with zone targeting. It's basically, there he is, the big guy right there. Have we already used him? No, we haven't. There it is. There's your big surprise right there. Ty Cobb is in the game, and it's just absolutely amazing. And I do think, okay, I could be wrong about this, but I think his besides being on the Detroit Tigers, I think his last year he was on the Philadelphia A's. And the Philadelphia A's, They stayed in Philadelphia, and then they moved and became the Kansas City A's for, I believe, about 13 years. And then they finally became and settled down in Oakland. And to the people of the Oakland, big shout out to you guys, because you guys lost your basketball team to San Francisco. You guys lost your football team next year to Las Vegas, and the A's are all you got. Thank God. Thank God you guys have the A's, because the A's are a historic, wonderful team with such a beautiful history, with with having literally the one of the greatest dynasties outside of the Yankees, in especially when you look at post expansion. Expansion happened to a degree, not full expansion, happened to a degree in 1962 with the Astros and the Mets. Oh, bad news right there. Bad news. Okay, Reggie Jackson. Anyway, my point is that, I have to really look this up, because I didn't realize I'm going to be bringing this up, but this has to become a little bit of a rant during a long video like this. But about 19 of the 27, or maybe even, let's say, 20 of the 27 championships the Yankees have, I could be wrong about my numbers here, came not, we're talking not pre-expansion, but we're talking more like pre-playoff expansion and here's Billy Wagner's card up close that I end up using for the title screen on this video. Anyway, a lot of 20 of the 27 approximately, if my numbers are correct, Yankees championships came pre-expansion, and they came at the cusp of expansion, and they came before the expanded playoff format. And if I didn't mention before, which I think I did not, pre-1969, you only had pennant winners. You had no playoffs at all. So it was based on record. And so the playoffs were quite a bit different. So pre-1969, for 6 decades, you are looking at over 6 decades, you are looking at just pennant winners going, no playoff format. From 69 to 95, you had a championship series and nothing else. And then at 1995, because 1994, I believe, was the strike year. Yeah, there is no World Series winner in 1994. It was so if you look back at the World Champion of 1994, there won't be one. And then in 1995, we went to the expanded format, adding a wild card. And so wild card games only go back for 25 years now. Anyway, my point is that pre-playoff expansion in '69, it could be debated that the Yankees and the A's have the 2 biggest dynasties of all time, with the 1996 through 2000 New York Yankees just rolling through with 4 out of 5 years, I believe, and the other would be the Oakland A's of 72, 73, 74 that could have probably won another one. And I believe they were in the 71 World Series. I could be wrong about that, against the Pirates. But if you look at the Oakland A's of 72, 73, 74, if you guys want to YouTube it and look at their history, they could have gone on to win another 1 or 2 in a row. We will never know, because the owner of that team tore that team apart and sent Reggie Jackson to New York. And Mr. October got 2 more World Series rings with the New York Yankees instead of the Oakland A's. So I really feel like that pivotal moment in time gave Yankees added history and took away history from the Oakland A's. And it's horrible. Anyway, big shout out to the people of Oakland for all you guys' losses of your teams. And I wish you guys the best. And I will watch the A's from afar. Unfortunately, you guys have a history of collapsing constantly in the playoffs. We're talking like single elimination type playoff, out. I think it even said last year you guys had 8 in a row. I did not think you guys are going to win that playoff game. I was hoping you guys would show up and play well. Yandy Diaz and Sean Manaea made sure that that did and didn't happen. So it was a great game. I always love the playoff game. Anyway, let's go back to the game here. Enough about historic baseball. I'm just having fun talking to you guys about signature teams, signature moments, historic baseball, and the history of baseball is so interesting. One other anecdote. I could be wrong. I believe there was not a 1904 World Series winner also. And I could be wrong about this, but I believe the first World Series was in 1903, and the reason there wasn't one in 1904 is because the teams were not. It was almost in the beginning. It was almost considered like an exhibition game with two different leagues to have them play against each other, so they weren't required to show up. So I believe the National League pennant winner, if my history is correct, declined the offer to show up for a couple of different reasons, which I'd have to look up again. So I believe the 2 years that we do not have a World Series winner is 1904 and 1994, if I'm correct about that. There's probably some other cool anecdotes, but this year's World Series was the first World Series ever that every game was won on the road. I believe I can't remember who won the first World Series. Golly, I wish I could remember. Maybe the Chicago Cubs. Yeah, or was that 1905? Anyway, I believe that World Series was won 5-3 because it was a best of 9 back then, not a best of 7 for a few years, and they toyed with it for a while about best of 7, best of 9, stuff like that, and I believe the teams were down. Oh God, I shouldn't even tell this story because I don't know which teams it was. But I think that no, I think the first World Series winner of all time is the Boston Americans. Anyway, they were down 3-1, and then they rattled off 4 games in a row. And I maybe they played the Cubs or something like that. But I believe, yeah, in 1903, the first World Series winner is the Boston Americans. I'll have to look it up later. You guys are welcome, if I'm incorrect, to leave feedback. Michael Brantley pitching here. I love it. I didn't take him out just to keep it off the plate. And, we were down to the last couple minutes of the game anyway, so... Anyway, I do need to win this signature moment because I get a signature card out of it. And so it's not really, this game does have meaning. I just figured if I throw him a few curveballs. When you do put in a position player, they do tend to only have 1 or 2 pitches. They tend to only have a fastball and a changeup. And that's it. They don't have any moving pitches. Marcus Semien. Okay, we got 3 minutes left in this video. Let me put in Ryan Presley. I wish Joe Smith was on this team. I love pitching with Joe Smith. His pitches come in looking so different than any other pitcher in this game. I would love to watch him pitch up close in real life. Or I'd love to bat up against him. That will never happen, but anyway, yeah, he's an amazing pitcher. We were very lucky to have him. Hopefully we can get him back. Alright guys, the signature moment's coming up here soon. Or the winning moment, excuse me. Alright, let's see who's up to bat here. Okay, Jeff Bagwell. Okay, zone targeting is what I'm going to call it. Using zone hitting and targeting a part of the plate. And bad swing there. Horrible swing. Okay, zone targeting. Ooh, another bad pitch right there. Oh, man, that was a little bit inside from where I targeted. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There we go. So I get the reward there. Okay, guys, that's my video. Hopefully you guys liked it. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. And you guys are more than welcome to look at a few of the highlights right here. Actually, that signature moment right there doesn't even exist in the game because I edited out the top of the first inning where I screwed up and I kind of left. It both of them came out to be 1-0 at the top of the first inning, so it didn't matter. So that actually did not even happen in the game. Did that hit the railroad tracks and bounce off? Anyway, that's my video. Hopefully you guys liked it, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.